You want your kids to be healthy, so you go out of your way to get fresh vegetables and prepare them with love, and then your kids just won't eat them. You've tried every trick in the book and nothing seems to work. Today we're going to look at a number of strategies to get over this hump, from psychology to culinary to family dynamics, and we'll also hear directly from a pediatrician with decades of experience. These tips will help your kids not just tolerate vegetables, but actually love them and look forward to seeing them in their meals. All right, I've set the bar super high. You'll be the judge. Let's get into it. Obviously, the strategy depends on age. In this video, we'll cover all ages from babies to teenagers, but of course, the earlier you start, the easier it is. So how early can we start? When they first start eating solid foods at 6 months or so? Way earlier. Breastfeeding? Earlier still. There's some absolutely fascinating research showing that what the mother eats during pregnancy affects the composition of the amniotic fluid. That's the liquid surrounding the baby in the womb, and even affects the baby's food preferences after birth. In this study, giving pregnant women carrot juice to drink made their children more receptive to the carrot taste after birth. The authors explain, prenatal exposure to a flavor enhanced the infant's enjoyment of that flavor in solid foods. This study reviewed the whole field and concluded flavors originating from the maternal diet during pregnancy can transfer to the amniotic fluid, and fetal flavor exposure increases acceptance of those foods when re-exposed during infancy. So translated from nerd speak, the baby learns to love the foods mom eats during pregnancy. Talk about setting the example, huh? Before the kid's even born. This research is some of the most mind-blowing, but also some of the most bizarre stuff I've ever seen. In one study, they asked pregnant women to eat garlic and then had volunteers smell samples of their amniotic fluid and try to guess which women had had the garlic. And it actually worked. They identified most of the samples correctly. I guess that's something to brag about. Okay, but chances are if you clicked on this video, your baby is already out in the world. That's okay. Plenty we can still do. It's never too late. That incredible influence of mom's diet over the baby continues during breastfeeding. Remember the carrot study? They also had a group of moms who drank carrot juice during breastfeeding, and it also worked. The babies were more receptive to the carrot taste later on when they started eating solid foods. And they brought back the garlic experiment, where volunteers smelled samples of breast milk and tried to guess which women had had the garlic. And yes, it worked again. Most of the time, they could tell who had the garlic just by the smell of the breast milk. In case you're wondering, this research was funded by the NIH, government agency, so that's your tax dollars hard at work. Joking aside, the idea is to get a sense that what the mom eats is actually secreted in the milk a couple hours later, so the baby is exposed to those flavors. Weirdness factor aside, it all kind of makes sense. Okay, so if you're pregnant or breastfeeding, you have direct control over his or her later preferences by eating those foods yourself. What if your kid is past breastfeeding? Plenty of strategies left. There's some common advice out there to sneak in the vegetables. Okay, but can we find a way to actually feature them, to make them the star, instead of some nuisance that we gotta hide? Is that even possible? Challenge accepted. The first thing is to rely on the versatility of vegetables. If your kids turn down steamed veggies, maybe try sauteing them. Maybe your kid is not into raw onions in salad. How about caramelized onions? That's a whole different beast. A great example of versatility is cauliflower. Parents report it's one of the tougher things to get kids to eat. So it's a good example of how you can make it 1,000 different ways. It doesn't have to be just this bland white thing. If steamed cauliflower is not a hit, maybe try cauliflower rice with a nice sauce on top. You go from the florets to the rice in 30 seconds by processing or grating, and it almost doesn't seem like the same plant. I'll link a video below with 7 flavors of cauliflower rice to play with. As we'll see, this issue of choice keeps coming up over and over again. Texture and temperature can have a big impact on our taste perception. For us as well, not just kids. So don't assume a vegetable is off the table for good just because it wasn't welcome when it was served a certain way. Maybe raw vegetables are a no-go, but roasted veggies work. Air frying or oven frying veggies is another option that may be worth a shot because it delivers that crunchiness without the added fat of deep frying. Besides texture and temperature, shape also matters. Kids are very visual and can reject a food before even tasting sometimes. But this can also work to your advantage if you can find a presentation that intrigues them. So here are a couple ideas. Zucchini noodles. Slices of zucchini are so boring. This is way better. You can get a spiralizer for less than 10 bucks. Kids love spaghetti, right? Well, this is technically spaghetti, kinda. And it's a whole vegetable It's gluten-free, it's low carb, low fat. What else do we need from a food? Does it also do our taxes for us? Spiralizing also works for carrots and a bunch of other veggies too. Okay, here's another idea. We can do this all day long. Cauliflower pizza crust, a healthier version of a food kids usually love. Most recipes for pizza include eggs and cheese, but if you prefer to avoid those, it can be done with flaxseed, for example. I'll link recipes below with and without eggs, etc. If you prefer a plant-based cheese, check out our video on how to make delicious cashew cheese that actually tastes cheesy. Okay, here's another one. Cauliflower mash. Super quick, 1 minute in the food processor. You turn the boring steamed cauliflower into this delicious soft mash that resembles mashed potatoes. And by adding other ingredients into the processor, you can make it garlicky or spicy or cheesy with actual cheese or nutritional yeast. Both work. Speaking of shapes, vegetable cutters are really cheap. You can buy a whole kit and let your kids choose the shape they like. By focusing the choice on shape, you're locking in the quality aspect. This is sometimes called a double bind, where both options are good. Do you prefer your carrots star-shaped or heart-shaped instead of carrots versus frozen chicken nuggets? Even better than choosing is letting them do the shaping, which gets them involved in preparing the meal instead of it just popping up magically in front of them, which doesn't foster a connection with the food. This logic extends to shopping as well, getting the kids to help out and teaching them which foods to buy, how to choose, and the logic behind it. From a very early age, kids understand the concept of something that's good for us versus something that can make us sick. So teaching the basics, these are fruits and vegetables, and this is candy, and we eat that once in a while, but not all the time because it can make us sick. Basic stuff like that, a 3-year-old is perfectly capable of understanding it. That simple adventure at the store is one of the most important lessons we can teach our children. And it sets the right dynamic of understanding why we do things a certain way, not just because you're told. There's this new book out, Hunt, Gather, Parent, and it's making a lot of waves. Among many other things, the author, Dr. Micheline Doucleff, explains how she taught her daughter about the gut microbiome. Is her daughter in graduate school? No, she's 3 years old. So she boiled it down to the basics. She explained that there are little bugs that live in our belly and they are good for us and they help us grow and be healthy and learn and be smart. And just like us, they need to eat. And they like things like asparagus and broccoli and chickpeas. And if we eat too much candy, they can get sick. It's nutrition made simple, toddler edition. So this whole idea of making kids an active participant instead of a passive recipient, involving them in the choice and the preparation. It makes everything easier because a kid is much more likely to eat a food that he or she helped choose and create than something imposed that they have to eat because mommy said so. It turns a chore into something fun. Just a quick note that the choice should come before the meal, not during. Once dinner is served, that's what we're having. But during prep and planning, we have some choice of what we're going to eat. Still on the topic of visual appeal, those veggie cutter kits sometimes come with colored food picks and other decorations. So this is a type of very simple thing that can make the plate more colorful and exciting. When it comes to shapes, one of the go-tos is to make faces out of vegetables. It's fun and it works with almost anything because our brain is programmed to recognize facial patterns everywhere. Each plate can represent a family member. Shaping food like animals works great too. Or whatever cartoons or superheroes your kids are into, definitely use that. Peppa Pig broccoli, whatever it takes, right? Hey, whatever it takes. Now, these strategies can help, but of course, the setup needs to be right. Kids will pick up on cues around them really astutely. If they're expected to eat their veggies, but other people are eating junk food, that's not going to work. We need to lead by example. I know you all eat a stellar diet, but some people out there not watching this video right now sometimes want their kids to do something while they do something different. But actions speak louder than words. On that note, I recently had the chance to discuss this topic of kids and eating vegetables with board-certified pediatrician Dr. Jeffrey Hirschfield. Here's what he had to say.
You can't force a child, a toddler, to eat something. And we know through our experience that with little kids, that they will eventually start eating those foods, particularly when we embrace it. The whole family embraces it, and that's what's on the table. That's what's available to them. They'll actually start eating it. And we know that over many decades of working with children, that's generally what happens. So you can't force toddlers and young kids to eat certain things. You could just say, hey, this is what we're eating. We have one meal. We're all here together, and make them part of the creation. Make them part of the dishes you're preparing. That's the other thing we add value there by having parents engaging with their children and having fun. make funny faces and shapes and different things with their vegetables, and then, make it fun for them.
So, as Jeff explained, availability is a big piece of the puzzle. If healthy food is all there is at the home, kids will eat it. But if there's a junkier option, the eye will stray. So one idea, consider making the home a junk-free zone, or a more moderate option, maybe the meals are junk-free time. Having a system like that in place starts to teach them about boundaries and how to build a consistent habit. In fact, in Hunt Gather Parent, she lays out the 3 keys to building a healthy behavior. Model, which is leading by example, where kids tend to emulate the adults. Practice, so the consistency of doing something day after day, like a healthy meal. And finally, acknowledging effort and progress in the right direction. All right, we're going to keep going. We've got a lot more tips to cover, but by all means, share below any strategies that worked for you or your family so everybody can learn new tricks. Okay, so we can play with shapes. We can play with the names as well. Come up with silly names that make things fun. Zucchini noodles are zoodles, or it's the hair from the green giant. Broccoli and cauliflower are baby trees from the magical forest. You get the idea. Oh, and unicorns. When in doubt, throw in some unicorns. You can create a whole backstory for the food, so it's a whole event. Let us know what masterpieces you come up with. And remember, an image is worth 1,000 words. So cute pictures of vegetables on the fridge door or children's books talking about vegetables will get kids familiar with them in a friendly way. Another great move is to use vegetables as toppings. Maybe you're doing the cauliflower pizza and you lay out 6 or 7 vegetable options, different colors and shapes, in colored bowls, and you let them choose the toppings they want. Spinach, mushroom, broccoli, carrots, bell peppers. It's the double bind on steroids. All the options are great. The veggie topping buffet also works great with tacos or salad or mashed potatoes or mashed cauliflower. Works great with any meal really, and it makes it interactive and fun. Again, you can come up with a fun name. We're having Dynamo Tacos tonight. There's the normal boring tacos, and then there's Dynamo Tacos with the vegetable topping buffet laid out. Now the vegetables become an upgrade, not something we have to hide. Hey Johnny, do you want regular tacos tonight or special Dynamo Turbo Tacos? Another great tool are sauces or dips. Hummus, tahini, guacamole, even nut butters. They can really add flavor and dimension and nutrition to vegetables. They're rich in healthy fats and protein, which a lot of vegetables are less concentrated in, so it's a great combo. Really, this is not that different from adults. We often talk in our videos about finding a way to eat healthy that works for you. Same logic. Playing with all the options to find something healthy that works for your kids. Okay, couple more ideas. Mixing fruit in a salad. The sweetness can help make it more appealing. Smoothies with fruit and greens are another common one that allow you to harness the sweetness of the fruit to get some other veggies in there. Another one is ice cream made with frozen fruit. I made a video on this before. I absolutely love it. All you do is freeze the fruit and then blend for a few seconds. Something about the frozen form brings out the sweetness. You don't need to add any sweetener. It actually tastes like real ice cream. I did it with berries in the video, but it works with banana, mango, pineapple. Try it out. Great option for a healthy dessert without artificial sugar. Okay, let's talk about older kids, preteens and teenagers. Obviously, we're going to need some different strategies. Star-shaped carrots are not going to mesmerize your average 15-year-old. The older they are, the more freedom of choice they should have, within reason. So allowing them input into the food choices, not being too restrictive, but just not having too much junk at the house so that all the available options are reasonable. Also, bear in mind, if you're working on a new habit, it will take some time. It's a gradual process, a gradual transition. So work one day at a time, 1 month at a time, and acknowledge progress. Now, of course, older kids are going to eat different things on their own. They're going to buy it themselves, they're going to eat with their friends, and that's okay. But the home should remain this point of reference where we normally eat healthy meals. On one hand, with older kids, it's not going to be as simple as with a 2-year-old, but on the other hand, their comprehension is at a completely different level. So the education aspect really comes into play. You can explain the health benefits much better. What's fiber? What are vitamins? Why do we eat this or that? One key to motivating older kids is to tie the benefits to things they care about. Teenagers don't care about risk of heart disease. It's not in their reality. But things like growth, height, athleticism, performance in school, their appearance, those things matter to them. If they understand their diet affects their overall health, which impacts all of those aspects, physical and psychological, they're much more likely to take an interest in eating a little bit healthier. Here's Dr. Hirschfield again on this point.
Even teenagers, if the parents come in with their teens, we all speak openly and honestly, and they hear the same themes over and over about how this improves your health and your outlook and your energy and endurance and your sleep pattern. It all does. And so we start with that notion, and sometimes I have to get a little pictorial. I put out the growth charts and I show parents when the kids are young. At 6 months they start eating foods, and sure enough, that weight curve starts trending up. The length stays stable, and I kind of go over that so we capture it. But when you're a teenager, they're fully understanding of what's going on, and they fully listen and they hear and they change. Like I said, the kids are the leaders, even starting in the toddler years. So they do very well with it, and they understand, like you said, that they'll be better performers if they're in sports, and they'll look better, for their peers. And they actually come back, and we see it and we measure it. We check their weights, their blood pressures, and that gives them more enthusiasm, just like with adults, right? Once they get motoring, these kids really adapt, and they've done wonderful things, and it works. They feel good. Everybody's happy. The family's happier. The parents learn too at the same time, and everybody's participating together, and they see the benefits.
So the key aspects I would highlight from all of that are, number one, the education side, empowering kids starting at an early age to make healthy choices and to understand why we make them. And number two, the environment aspect, leading by example so they pick up the right cues and paying attention to availability. It's less about willpower and more about skill power. So instead of straining to make the right choices in the wrong situation, working to create an environment that makes it easy to make the right choices. Here's more on the psychology of healthy decisions and a look at the biology of breastfeeding. Ciao.